Hi, I'm Danya,
And I'm Shaheen.
and you're listening to or watching.
Reality woo woo.
It's not something to believe in.
It's something to talk about. I feel like I started really sultry for some
I
reason
know,
and you
and so
picked
I
up on
matched
it.
you. Yeah, I went to match
I like
you.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
you wanted to come down here?
Welcome.
I can meet you
It's
there.
Yeah. If
I
you're
think
not
it's
watching the
appropriate.
video, it's definitely 12 in the morning. No, it's
I
sunny California.
I think that's appropriate. We picked up appropriate tones, right? Because
Yeah.
on today's episode, I was giving like 90s sexy female trailer.
Yeah. Trailers were so weird in the 90s. Gosh.
They were so weird. Because today we're going to be talking about obviously based on the great success of the Barbie movie, the enormous transformation. You know, it's the same thing that happened with superhero movies. One is good, so there's just this pouring into IP for toys. So we're going to talk.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's nostalgia, right? They're feeding off of millennial nostalgia right now. They're like,
Yeah.
what did you play with as a kid? Will you pay money to go see this? Great.
Yeah. Like a few years, it's still, the 80s are still in, but a few years ago, the 80s were really in because they were targeting a little bit older generation and now they're on our level, like 90s kids.
Yes.
And
Yeah, exactly. They're like, what will get you to leave your
take turns.
house? Turn off
Yes.
Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
So how can we get you to
Strangely, it's the content that made us feel stuck in our house as children. And that's what we're excited to leave for now. Weird.
I love that. That's
I
actually a
know.
really, yeah.
The like
strangely-
lonely, isolating toys are what is building community now.
Yes, that's actually a really good
Wow.
point. Okay, well, where do we? So I just want to, like, as we mentioned, this is all on the backs of the Barbie movie, right? So, one quote, but of course, this is all incredibly misguided, and it's all happening as the writers are on strike, as the actors are all on strike. Like, that is the background within all of this happening. A great quote from Randall Park, who was recently interviewed, and he says, Barbie is this massive blockbuster, and the idea is make more movies about toys. No, make more movies by and about women. Park told Rolling Stone, adding, it's Greta Gerwig. It's not
Right.
Barbie. It's Greta Gerwig.
I know. We're all seeing Barbie and we're like, wow, it worked for Barbie. It worked for Lego. And we're tying this connection in our head. But really, the exciting thing is this feminist conversation, the phenomenon culturally that it stirred. That's what I loved about it.
It's I do want to expand it, right? It's all of us allowing ourselves to find joy in the things we've always found joy in and reminding ourselves of that experience, whether that be Lego or Barbie or Super Nintendo. That's the other thing that they're like, Universal Studios built a whole fucking land off of the success of the Super Mario Brothers movie, which was like universally panned, but it made a shit ton of money because that's an experience that people remembered. And so,
The
yeah,
Mario movie, the one with like Danny DeVito?
No.
Or was there a recent
Chris
one?
Pratt was the voice. Yeah, it just came out
had
this year
no
and it
idea.
made $1 billion. And so,
Oh my God.
Universal
What?
Studios made an entire land based off of it. That also kind of sucks.
I
Like, it's not that
missed out.
good.
Wow. I guess Barbie just really took my brain. I had
Yeah,
no
because
idea.
that's what we played with. I mean, I played Super Mario's too, but
No, I
not
played
enough.
Super Mario a hell of a lot. I am obsessed. I could play Super Mario on Super Nintendo like blindfolded.
Not
I know all the secret levels.
Not enough to make me want to go see it though in theaters. We did rent it. We watched it the
Yeah.
other day and it was fine. It's fine.
I mean, I'll
Jack-
check it out and I'll have an
Jack
opinion
Black is
later.
Bowser's voice, so that was kind of fun too. Yeah, it was.
That sounds fun.
And Anna Taylor-Joy or Anna Joy Taylor, whatever. She's Queen's Gambit gal. She is the voice of Princess Peach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I like her.
Yeah, but
So
Mario
much
is Chris Pratt.
judging
and
goes
that's-
into a movie before even seeing anything about it. I just hear the people and I'm like, oh, I guess I'll maybe.
Yeah,
Casting
Chris
has
Pratt's
so much
the
to
worst
do
part
with-
of it. Like, I wish they
Yeah,
hadn't
I
even
didn't-
told us that he
I
was in
wasn't sold
it.
at all.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's do a retrospective, right? So we've
Right.
been talking about Barbie ad nauseum, but
Mm-hmm.
and Lego, and we just talked about Super Mario's brothers. The other two, obviously, like, I mean, what is unique? Let's go back to it, because there is this differentiation, right? Is that the toys that have been focused on have been male focused toys. So Transformers, Legos, Super Nintendo, like that actually is a differentiate. GI Joe, they made a GI Joe series with Channing Tatum that he like
Right.
is super embarrassed
Even
about and talks about.
even like comic books, like there's tons
These are
of
boy
female. Yeah, there was books for girls that, I mean, maybe
And not to
there's
say
movies,
women don't enjoy these things, right? And that's
Sure.
actually that's Reese Witherspoon's whole fucking thing, right? She's buying IP of books that women like reading and turning them into movies. That's her entire business model, because people have been ignoring this market for such a long time, right? Like teenage girls are who make the fucking world go round. Like look at the economy.
Right.
It's supported by, I mean, but it's always been that way, and it just gets dumbed down and made to feel like it's not a worthy experience or something worth your time. But I think Barbie will shift that with this, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's shifting the conversation already. I'm wearing pink more often.
Yeah, even Jeremiah bought like a pink surf shirt and it's like bright ass pink. It's fun.
No, that's the new pink for this year. It used to be millennial dusty pink. Now it's vibrant.
Yeah,
obnoxious
neon
Barbie
or
pink.
Malibu Barbie pink. But okay, so the Transformers movies, those are directed by Michael Bay. Fun fact, one of them was shot at my godmother's house.
Oh.
Yeah. I think it was Shia LaBeouf's house it was somebody's house in the movie when he's like running through the neighborhood and shit's getting like torn up. And
Vaguely remember that.
yeah, and those, I mean, there's so many of those. I saw the most recent one where they're like, they're animals or something, and it was set in the 90s, and Pete Davidson's the voice, and I think we've had enough, personally.
Yeah.
And there's no differentiation truly between the Transformers movies and like Planet of the Apes, right? In your brain, doesn't this all sound the same,
Yeah, it's all
right?
the same energy, right?
Yeah, like kind of extraterrestrial, like where did
Yeah.
they come from? Oh, they're
Gritty,
hiding. They're
Like
activated
dark,
by something.
real, colorful. It's like I almost kind of like, there was this time in the 90s when we were trying to make comic and like cartoony things real, but we still wanted that cartooniness, like Tim Burton's Batman, and we wanted that colorful swag. But then as soon as Christopher Nolan took us into dark Batman, all the movies wanted a like more realism. They wanted like black costumes, not brightly neon 80s costumes like the original stories. But I don't know where we're kind of going back. I want some cartoony. I want some fake sea and sand and Barbie to be standing on
We
it,
want it to
not
be
like
fun.
a realistic.
Well, and I actually, I would almost argue that you can track that against what the backdrop is, right? And so Christopher Nolan, that all came out right after the recession in 2008, where but there was hope because there was a lot of technological advancements and Obama became the president. Like there was an interesting so the films could be darker because the world was not that dark. Like it was okay. Yeah, that's actually why.
That's wild. Yeah, culturally we needed something to be like, what's reality?
Yeah,
And now
in
we're
the
like,
90s,
please take me away from the news.
Yeah, and same thing in the 90s. Not that things were bad; things were actually great. Probably that's probably the last time things were okay.
It was all a lie.
Yeah, but there was a pessimism to the 90s because Gen X was the point of view, and they're all like, "Fuck this!" Like that's their kind of, I feel like all of Gen X is they're Aries, but they're not.
Yeah, they all just have
they're all
greasy
like,
hair and flannels.
Yeah, Winona Ryder, like they're all just like, meh.
Yeah, they're all inspired by Kurt Cobain. And Pamela Anderson.
Exactly. And so there was that like cartoonishness because they thought that was as bad as things were gonna get. Little did they know. And then we got gritty when things like weren't that bad, when people were kind of optimistic and were like, it's gonna be okay. And then there's definitely, we want that again, that like cartoonish, that like vibrant. Like if you really think about it, Barbie is a cornerstone this summer too, because that's kind of all anyone can afford to do. like is go to
Yeah.
the movies. You know what I mean? Like that
Right.
actually is like inflation proof a little bit because
Yeah. This is the year of Barbie. Absolutely.
yeah, you can buy a ticket to go to the movies and you can buy a
Mm-hmm.
Barbie doll, but maybe you can't go to Italy for the summer, right? Like
Right.
there's different classifications for human beings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we touched on Transformer. Oh, the
Mm-hmm.
other one that like failed and they're definitely not going to do another one. But earlier this year I went to go see Dungeons and Dragons with Chris Pine.
I tried watching it. I didn't really. I don't know.
It was fine. I've never played Dungeons
But
and
you
Dragons.
said you liked it though, didn't you?
I
It was
liked
like
it because I
entertaining.
thought it was funny because I do of the Chris's. Chris Pine is the best one. And
Mm-hmm.
so I enjoyed that. And yeah, I don't know. I just kind of Hugh Grant's in it. Like I just enjoyed the interplay of all the characters, and I thought it was a fun little. I thought the writing was funny, and I thought it was a nice little adventure. It was a nice little adventure. But yeah, they
Yeah,
will not be
I
making
felt like
anymore because it was a massive loss.
right. I just maybe if they brought me into the world a little bit, or maybe like I've always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't know how it works.
very
And
complicated, truly.
when I see people play it, like in the episode of Community or like on television, if I see people engage in the game, Stranger Things try playing it, like that looks fun, but you have to
it's
teach
connection.
me a little bit. It's kind of it's like Wordle.
That's
or
what it
whatever.
is. And I agree with you when I watch people play it. I've listened to Dungeons and Dragons like podcasts. Like I like the world building and but somebody like the dungeon master has to be like a very intricate world builder. Like they actually have to like think of scenarios for all the characters. Like it takes a very creative a very organized you'd probably be good at it.
I would,
very
I would love
organized.
it. I've always, whenever I hear this, I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah, I think you'd be good at it, but yeah, it takes work. It's not like Monopoly where you can just pull it out and go.
Well,
It
I
takes
suck at
effort.
Monopoly, so I don't know.
Okay. So actually before we jump into like what's coming down the pipe, did you ever play with Transformers, just to kind of loop back through everything that we just talked about? Did you ever play with Transformers?
I
They're
can't,
like Barbie dolls,
oh.
but
They're-
they had like their chest, like shit would, stuff would pop
I
out of it.
remember watching the
I've
cartoon a
held
little bit. I was really into Power Rangers, and I remember Power Rangers
same.
had a thing where they like combined into each other to be one giant Transformer
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and that's
morphin'
kind
time.
of, I guess, yeah.
Okay, we didn't talk about that. That's the best, but it was already a show,
Power
and then they
Rangers.
made toys out of it, and then
Was
they-
it? Yeah,
they made
I
a
don't
movie.
remember. Did it start
Yes.
in Asia? I feel
Yes.
like maybe it did, and we
Yeah.
like brought it over here.
Definitely, it was Japanese, definitely influenced, and then we got it, and then of course licensed the shit out of it and made a bunch of toys and all of
Right.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking this idea of like how Barbie now is not just a movie about a Barbie, it's a movie about feminism.
Yeah.
Like what if the Power Rangers are going to be like a group of super protesters, or like what is their like
Well, the Power
what is their
Rangers were
phenomenon
really
that they're going to tell
diverse.
the story?
Honestly, they were
right.
shoving diversity down our throat.
They
The
were
blue-
one of every color.
There was
Yeah.
one of every color. The blue one is gay in real life. Like,
Is he?
yeah, Billy Yost or whatever. He
I
so
think he owns
I mean he
a
wasn't.
pizza shop in my hood in Sacramento.
Oh really? He
from what I
wasn't
heard, or
gay
maybe
on
he
the
used
show,
to.
obviously, but um,
Well, he's a
yeah.
new hero.
yeah. So I think in their own ways, a lot of shows are actually. Let me clarify that. All shows are shoving a message down your throat. It's just which messages are we allowing into our perspective? The people screaming that Barbie is a feminist movie, they don't give a fuck about the military industrial complex that's being shoved down our throats in Transformers and GI Joe. No, because that benefits them, because that's the status quo, because that's what they've always enjoyed. That has a message
Yeah.
too, and that message is America. Like
Right.
there's a message there too, and
Yeah.
so I don't.
The Power Rangers are absolutely just the next, like, they're a group of cultured, like, people. Like, there was the black one who was black.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's probably a problem now. Because
Yeah,
you
it
don't
was
want to say the
problematic
Asian
'cause
one
the
is
Asian
yellow.
one was yellow. Yes.
Fuck
yeah.
that. And the pink one is the girl, the white girl. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. The base of story is there. I'm open.
Okay,
to a
sounds
new
like
one.
you need to get into development on the the Power
Yeah.
Rangers movie.
Yeah, I'm down.
But yeah, okay, the experience of playing with like a Transformers doll, Gemini.
Yeah,
because it's like a shapeshifter.
can be anything. Maybe
it is
Sagittarius because they're kind of reckless and break things.
maybe, yeah. Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, I like seeing your mind shift.
Yeah, that could be good. What about Legos feels like a Taurus.
Legos is
talking-
building,
Building.
Taurus-y,
And they only connect a
Controlling.
certain way.
yeah, yeah.
There's
they
no
only, yeah.
adaptability with a Lego.
You can be creative, but it would be wrong.
Yeah, you can't. It would be wrong, but it can only be in certain dimensions. Like they have to
Right.
click in a certain. There's rules.
You know, like how there's the like ugly Barbie or the weird Barbie. There is
Yeah.
like there's not a weird Lego, but there was like a character who was like in the Lego movie was like haphazard and wonky, and they're always comedy relief. So
Yeah,
I don't know. It says a
Yeah.
lot. If you're in control of Legos, you're a Taurus.
yeah. Dungeons and Dragons, lots of story. I mean, that feels like that could be a Gemini. But it's probably a Virgo, I guess, right? Because it's storytelling and very organized.
Or a Cancer. I bet a Cancer would be good at that too. They could be like kind of, they could bring in a lot of emotional manipulation between the characters.
And that would make the game more
and
fun.
they're incredible. Cancers are incredible storytellers, all of them.
Okay.
They're like,
I
let
could
me
do
sit
that.
you down.
Yeah, and it does bring. You know what? I'm with you because the game is called Dungeons and Dragons, so it's like subconscious stuff coming, kind of rising, ruled by the
Rising.
moon. Oh, you've sold
Yeah.
me. You've sold me.
Yeah.
And then Barbie, we've talked about her as a character. Sag is definitely Sag
Right,
energy
she's Sag.
because
Mhm.
oh my god, I love
Or
that.
Libra.
Or
But
no,
I forget where we landed though. I think we
No,
landed
Ken
on
is a
Sag because she
Libra.
world building. Yeah.
yeah, she's a
She
world
like
builder.
creates her own world.
I actually love the comments we were getting on TikTok about that. Like we had legit people in the comments being like, actually, she's a Pisces. She was born on this day. And I was like, we don't care about facts on this show. We
Yeah,
go off
this
vibes. But thank you.
I'm not going off of facts.
Yeah. But
But I
thank
love
you.
that. Keep commenting.
Yeah, thanks for the participation. I like it. Keep coming with it. Okay, so kind of looping all the way back to Randall Park's comment about like now they're just pouring more money into toy movies from a girl perspective, right? From a lady view. So let's talk about those upcoming films.
Yeah,
What's the
Polly
first one?
Pocket. Let's go with that one first. Lena Dunham's going to direct it.
Yeah. Lily Collins is
And-
going to star in it as Polly
Right.
Pocket herself.
She has she done anything besides Emily in Paris? That's all I know her from.
She was Snow White. No,
Oh?
that was a different actress. No, but I think maybe she was in a
I
Snow
could
White movie.
as soon as you said it, I was like, I could see her
Right?
pale skin and red
Lily
lips.
Collins. Let's just
don't
look it
know.
up. Yeah, I do think that she was in a Snow White. Yeah, it was called Mirror Mirror. No, she's not been really. She's done a couple rom-coms. Yeah, that's kind of it. Did you ever play with Polly Pockets as a kid?
I think I had like an extra one that my sister had left, and like I don't know. I never had one, no, but I had one that didn't have like pieces in it, and I remember having like a boy version. It
Oh, you
wasn't
just had
Polly
the
Pocket
pop-
for boys.
You just
It
had
was
the
like-
thing.
Yeah,
Like,
I just had
you
the
had her
thing for Polly
the house,
Pocket.
but
yeah,
no
her little
Polly.
clam house. Like, we're doing this
Interesting.
thing. Her little cancer house.
Yeah.
And I had this other like boy version. It wasn't like a Polly Pocket brand. I don't even remember who was in the little. Maybe it was a Ninja Turtles Polly Pocket. Actually, it was like a little Ninja Turtles version of that.
I just saw
But yeah,
Ninja
no, I never really
Turtles
played
too. The movie.
Did you? Yeah, that one's kind of coming back and forth, like Spider-Man. And like they did a new one, and then they're
Yes.
doing another new one.
Yeah, that one's cute. I actually I liked it.
Yeah. Did you play
okay.
with Polly Pocket though?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You loved her.
And Polly Pocket was, I'm going to be really honest with you, really easy for me to convince my grandparents to buy me because it was cheaper than a Barbie doll. Like Barbies at the time, even in the 90s, I would guess that like, I mean, I didn't want bad Barbies. So any Barbie that I wanted was like $30 probably. Like that was like the price point for a good Barbie doll in the 90s. Where a Polly Pocket, you could get a Polly Pocket for like $14. And I, as a Virgo child, knew that at like the age of 7. Like I knew that the price point did make a difference to my grandparents. So I could very easily convince them to buy me a Polly Pocket. A Barbie
Right.
doll took a little bit more work.
And there's a little bit like less snobbiness attached to Polly Pocket. I feel like if you have a
Yeah.
good Barbie or a bad Barbie, it's kind of obvious. But if you have a good or a bad Polly Pocket, it's more just
There's
like more
less.
pieces to play with, I
A
guess. I don't know.
100%. I mean, I did. Yeah, of course, going back to me being an only child for a lot of my life, I did have an entire Polly Pocket theme park. So she could, yeah, it was like an entire land. It
How big was
could not
this?
fit in your pocket. Yeah, it
Okay.
was
Yeah.
probably the size of my computer, so like 13 inches across, and you could put Polly could go in like a boat, she could go like on a little lake ride,
Wow.
she could go on
Was
a
it real
Ferris
water or
wheel.
like fake water that you
No, it
just
was
scooped
fake
the thing
water that
through?
she just
Okay.
like was across, like would walk, you
That's
you could
fun.
move her. It had like a dial so that she would like skim across. Yeah, no, it was
Okay.
fun. It was great. And like I remember it very vividly. So it was a fun toy.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember when my a family friend of ours immigrated from Cuba when he was like, literally, he came to the United States as like a 4-year-old, and he stole my Polly Pocket. It was a pool one that I had that I'd gotten in Miami. We'd gone to Miami for, being Cubans. We had gone to Miami for a vacation, and I got it there, and it was like a Polly Pocket like public pool. And he stole it from me, and I was so
really
mad
funny,
about
a
it. And then now I
public
look back and
pool.
I'm like, this kid had nothing. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I
he
mean?
probably was I mean, if it was private and it kept him to himself, or if it was something that he could share, like that was the best toy in the neighborhood.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
no, his
exciting.
dad was like a complete asshole. So I'm assuming he like had to hide it from his dad. Like he was not allowed to play with that Polly Pocket. Like
So you've healed your inner child, forgives.
absolutely. I forgive. It's the generous adult side of me has been like, he needed your one Polly Pocket. You had 20. I legitimately had a backpack full of them. Like it wasn't, yeah, I'm okay
Well,
with it. I've let it go.
Something I don't really know about Polly Pocket, but maybe you'd resonate with this a lot is
Yeah.
what Lena Dunham said about in a Variety interview. She said Polly Pocket was responsible for countless hours of childhood escapism for me. Polly gave me a tiny world of magic and autonomy to narrate. So it's pretty poetic to be tackling these same ideas now as a director. It made me
Yeah.
really like her. I was like, oh, that's cute.
It is about imagination. Like it is about being able to like create your own little world where you were the star of it. You didn't have to like
Yeah.
kowtow to like your dad or like male point of view. Like this was your world. Although I always talk about, I'm very lucky. I grew up in a house full of women. We just had my grandfather who, for all intents and purposes, he was a Cancer, and he was also in the Cuban military. So my grandfather was like an exceptionally like clean man. He was just like very, so I don't like gross, dirty, smelly boy. And he was also in his fucking 60s. Like he wasn't like testosterone. Like I did not have that in my life growing up. And it's definitely shaped the person that I have way less tolerance for it
Yeah,
than I
yeah.
think most people do, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I know
Well, me
how
too.
functional things can be when it's just women working together. You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah. I think in Middle Eastern culture too, it's ironic. I don't think this is depicted on the news, but in America, Middle Eastern women who come to America, they're in charge of the family.
They are, yeah,
And like the women
absolutely.
are the ones who are like making sure everything is happening.
And they make
So
all the
I
decisions.
vibe with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like men are it is supposed to be a partnership. I don't think one has to be the other, but women are more strategic and not women. I again, we're back in the
Yeah, we shouldn't
binary.
be saying,
Yeah, I want to go back into this like giving receiving energy. I
yeah.
think in the giving energy, there's more connections built. There's more community based problem solving. And that's how we solve problems. And men are great at like task focused shit. So if somebody has like oriented and built the plan and been like, okay, your job is to go do this thing, like men actually feel good. There's like a purpose for them. They're like, okay, I'm gonna go gather the sticks to build the house or whatever. Or your mom's like, tells your dad you're gonna go be a doctor, and he's like, great, like whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, because now my role is very clearly defined in
I
this.
mean, it's funny. I like in terms of this like sexual revolution, or what is it? Is it a sexual revolution or like mental revolution in terms of gender identity? I don't know. This wave of Barbie bringing us into Polly Pocket movies and like kind of sending us in makes me think like, why is Lena Dunham the one who's like like leading this revolution?
Right, like
a
Greta
little bit?
Gerwig
She's not
is
leading, but
Greta Gerwig's the linchpin, and Greta Gerwig grew up in Sacramento, and where, yeah, when we get things from Lena Dunham and starring Lily Collins, I'm not here to say Nepo baby shouldn't exist. I am here to say that we buy a lot of things from Nepo babies. That's
and remember that.
We have to, we have to take that into consideration, that, again, going back to everything that you are consuming has a message. So how are you curating the messages that you're letting into your psyche? What are you doing about that? And if you're only ever taking in content that is shaped by highly affluent, highly celebrity focused upbringings, like that's Lena Dunham's viewpoint. She, you mentioned it before we started recording. Like, I'm not saying don't buy Kylie cosmetics, but just know that she's never ridden South.
Yeah, she doesn't know what
Airlines.
it's like to be on Coach.
Yeah.
or like a.
But you do.
And that shapes a lot.
That shapes
of
your
things.
perspective. So don't you want to see stories that either, I understand that we want to see stories we can aspire to. I get that. That is also important in the manifestation process of your life. Like I understand aspirational images, but we also need mirrors. We need mirrors to shape our viewpoint. Like that's Blue Beetle, another fucking superhero, but Blue Beetle is coming out.
Oh yeah.
And it's like
and
the
it's
first
like Latino
superhero.
Right.
Yeah. And that's like that's the first thing that's coming up, that they're like, oh, this might unseat Barbie from the #1 spot at the box office. Because and I kind of went into it, like it's not the same as Black Panther, because like Latinos are not unified in that perspective, and
that's a really interesting point.
It is not the same, where we'll be like, well, that I don't know what he is, but I know he's not Cuban, so Cuban people will be like, he's not Cuban, so I don't care. And I'm like, but we do have threads. We were all colonized by the Spaniards. Like there are some commonalities there for sure. But it is different. But it's just interesting, right? Again, like I'm not like fuck Nepo babies. I'm just like, we need to consider.
We have to know who these people are. And like Lena Dunham is an adult director, and she's not a children's director. And the show Girls was sexually and emotionally graphic. So I'm excited, but I'm also wary. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm interested. I mean, you'll catch me watching Polly Pocket for sure.
I'm gonna see it. Yeah, if they like brand everything purple or whatever, I'll be wearing purple probably.
Yeah. What do you think the experience of playing with a Polly Pocket? Like, what astrology sign? What zodiac vibes does that carry? If I'm thinking about it.
Well, I feel like maybe this conversation influenced me a little. You go first.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm just thinking through. I don't have a concrete answer. I was going to be like, is it a Scorpio? Because it is, it's hidden in your pocket.
Hidden. It closes up.
And you put it away.
Oh, I like that. Who knows what's happening with those secrets?
Yeah,
well, I was thinking, kind of jumping off of where we were with Dungeons and Dragons, and it's like a storytelling mechanism, and it seems very Virgo-y. It seems very like a lot more controlled too. Like Barbies are like, I have a Barbie, you have a Barbie, let me tell you what your Barbie should do, but I don't have to listen if I don't want to. But Polly Pocket's like, they're all doing exactly what I tell them to do.
That's actually very fair. And I do think Polly Pocket is a Virgo, because it's neat, it's tidy, it can go in your pocket. Also, to your point, it does have a little bit of a Lego aspect, because there's like indentations where the Polly Pocket can stand. The Polly Pocket can't stand anywhere in the little thing. It has like places where she can stand. She like plugs in.
You have to like
to little
it's
spots.
Really controlled. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Virgo. Okay, fuck.
It's a Virgo, yeah. Yeah, we could say Leo too for some reason. I don't really know why, but just seems kind of like yes.
Maybe.
Queen of the, I don't know. Like, let's just make Leos feel good and say maybe it's Leo.
Okay. They don't have enough.
Yeah. But I do wonder what their like message is going to be. They can't just take feminism as a whole like Barbie did. It has to be something.
Yeah.
You got to go with like fucking climate change or
Did you watch the How I Made It Barbie? You did, right? It's where they just like stole, it's like a German sex doll that they Oh my god, you didn't? Oh, can I just very quickly, I know we just keep talking about Barbie, but So Ruth Handler, who they like depicted really nicely in this movie, right? The like
Uh-huh.
creator of Barbie. Oh
Yeah.
no. So
Mm-hmm.
she went to
I've seen some
Germany
things,
with
yeah.
her
Oh, tell me.
family,
Oh
and
my
there was
gosh.
like a German sex doll called the Lily doll. That
Huh.
was like the Germans are so weird. It was like looks just like
I mean,
Barbie, but
facts.
she had like
Look
a
at
like a
history.
sluttier kind of look, and it was a toy that German men would give to. She was a sex worker, and it was
Huh.
like a way that they would like she would flirt. You could flirt with someone if you bought them the doll. Isn't that insane?
Oh my
And she
goodness.
just like liked the look of the doll and brought it back,
Hmm.
and then she hired, I guess he had worked for Raytheon, so like he had helped make like his name was Jack something, I forget his last name, but
Hmm.
he married Zsa Zsa Gabor, and he was like, yeah, because they couldn't pay him like a Raytheon salary, so he engineered Barbie, like re-engineered her so that she didn't look so slutty, and like, you know, just made her
Mm-hmm.
more for children, and made her knees pop, like all the little Barbie things that like we all
Hmm.
know, made her arms move, all that kind of stuff. And they couldn't afford to pay him, so they gave him a royalty deal, and so he became super super rich and a big fucking coke addict partier, and
Oh.
would throw like insane parties in Bel Air. And so then
Hmm.
Barbie as a company tried to distance themselves from him. And so
Wow.
they like, there's a, you know,
Huh.
they still try to fight about the fact of like the Barbie mythology. The Barbie and Ken are definitely named after Ruth and Ruth's
Yeah, her
kids,
daughter and yeah.
but like they also interviewed this guy Jack's daughter, and she's like, well, Barbie's also my mom's name. So like she tries to like
Oh.
insert herself into that, which I think is interesting. But then no, this,
Hmm.
it gets even better than this. Ruth Handler at Barbie's, I think sales were like tanking in the 70s maybe,
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
or at
Yeah.
some point. She like was she had to leave the company because she was like she was placing orders for the dolls and like fucking up their balance books to make it seem like they were selling more of the dolls to
Oh.
investors. Yes, this is like a whole thing. So they pushed her out, and then
Wow.
in the 90s Mattel hired their first female CEO, who was like, actually, it would probably be great if we brought her back for the mythology of the brand. Like it was a brand
Uh-huh.
move to bring her back in. Isn't that
That's so
interesting?
something I would do.
Yeah, right. They're like, she's a lady
Unfortunately.
and she made the doll for ladies, and it's like she's also
Uh-huh.
a thief. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like it's so easy to criticize the people who sparked this thing, but she was just expressing something that we all wanted and
power,
asked for and
money.
continued to consume. Yeah, all of it. We wanted a
Yeah.
sexy thing. We didn't want a baby thing. We wanted to dress it up in different outfits.
Hmm.
We wanted to envision a future where women could be doctors or sex workers, and
Yes.
everyone took it where they wanted it to be, and we can blame her,
Yeah.
but it's not like her.
No, she's a human being. I'm just
Yeah.
giving you the 360. Yes, she
Yeah.
invented Barbie dolls. She was a
No, that's
marketing branding
fascinating.
genius, and
Mm-hmm.
she made some poor financial decisions. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're not trying to cancel people. We're trying to allow space for people to be human beings. That's what
Yeah.
we're allowing. Is
Right.
that yes, absolutely people get corrupted by money and power. It
Mm-hmm.
happens. But
Yeah.
then is there a redemption? Can they come back to being a normal human being? Like what does that arc look like? Do we allow that as a society? I don't
Right.
know.
Oh.
We're figuring that
Mm.
out right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what's next? Barney? We're talking about Barney.
Barney movie is coming out. Robbie
Yeah.
Brenner, the producer behind Barbie, who runs Mattel Films and oversees all of the toy companies developing film projects. Oh wait, that's okay. Yeah, she's saying that a note about the Barney movie is that the film is not going to be. It's going to be a gritty reboot. It's going to be unique, more like a Being John Malkovich.
No, she said it's not going to be a gritty reboot.
It's isn't
It
going to be
isn't
necessarily.
necessarily. Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
It's okay.
But it is going to be unique, more like a Being John Malkovich. And that to me, I was like, I
kinda
didn't
more
know how to
meta.
take all of those words in a row. I was like, is this going to be like played by Steve Carell and depressing? Or is it going to be cartoony?
I
We'll
think
see.
Adaption or Being John Malkovich are a little like meta, right? Like they're about like the process. So maybe it'll be like about the person who is inside the Barney costume.
Right, like I don't know, but I don't want that. I want like some, I want like a Barney and tell me like, how is he gonna fix climate change or being proudly gay or whatever the like. I'm still in this wave of like pop
I mean,
meets
but how do you make a movie
culture.
about Bart? Like, do you remember watching Barney?
I mean, yeah, kind of. It was like he sang songs, he taught us how to clean up, and he was
He did
purple,
like
and I
arts and
feel like
crafts with these kids after
yeah,
school. Like, that's what he
there was
was.
like
He was,
yeah, and I feel like there was this common thing. Maybe this is just in my small bubble, but I felt like if you liked Barney after a certain age, you were gay. It was like a gay thing. And it wasn't. I'm not like calling out like parts of my history or anything. No one, I don't think, bullied me for that. But I remember that being like a common thing. Like you can't like Barney. He's purple. He's gay.
I think that's just
And
how
the same with
kids
like
talk.
the the
And I think
Willy.
it's like a baby thing, right? Like
Yeah,
that's what it
it's a
was.
baby
Is like
thing.
you
Yeah,
couldn't like Barney after the age of 5. Like I think
right,
that's what it was more, right?
right. Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah, I
more,
don't know.
and then maybe what I think this is a you thing, like
Maybe it is. I want
so
Barney to be gay.
yeah,
That's I guess what we're uncovering here.
is that Barney's got to
Tell
be
that
gay?
story. Someone representation. It
Yeah, he
matters.
could be. And I mean,
Okay, Hot Wheels. Or what were you
Huh.
gonna say?
Yeah, no. Huh. What was the experience of so Barney back to like what was Barney the experience of it? What's the zodiac sign
Oh,
of?
what's the zodiac of Barney?
Yeah, because so Barbie's about friendship. He is about clean. I
Mm.
love you. Is it Barney a Pisces?
And like,
Very
oh, maybe
creative.
could be a
Yeah, very
Pisces creative.
imaginative.
It's also very nurturing in
Very
like in a Libra
feelings.
kind of way. He's like, hey everybody, let's get along, let's clean up, let's share.
Yeah, partnership.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
then
I
he
like
had
Pisces, I like Libra.
and then he had Bop was the girl dinosaur.
Oh yeah. Was she yellow or what color was she?
No, the yellow one was a
Um
boy, and I don't remember his
oh.
name. He was like another friend.
Oh, Pop.
Um,
Was she like? What was her name? I don't even
Bop.
remember her. I didn't even know she existed until you said that name.
Bop
and I
was
see
green.
like
She was like the opposite colors of
oh,
Barney.
like reversed, right? Oh my
I'm
gosh,
pretty
I
sure,
could have
yeah.
not even seen that if I tried.
Oh, I
Yeah,
have
and then
a
there was also a yellow one who I don't know.
yeah. I don't remember Buster or something. He was just like another friend who showed
he
up.
was like
later.
a scrappy neighbor
Yeah,
kid.
yeah,
Buster.
something like that. But then Bop and him seemed younger than Barney. I don't understand. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah,
Maybe
why
we'll
is
get
Barney
some
so
clarity.
tall and old, telling everyone what to do?
Why is Barney in charge of everyone? What's going
Yeah.
on?
Well, I think
Um,
Barney's a Libra.
Okay, that's
Nurturing.
fine. I like that, and
Maternal.
and all the activities were like aesthetic based. It was all like arts and crafts kind of
Yeah. His
activities, right? Like they'd come out with the
purple-
scissors and the glue, and they'd make stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
clean up, clean,
Clean up. Cares so much about
everybody
cleaning.
everywhere. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hot Wheels.
Hot Wheels. So J.J. Abrams says his Hot Wheels movie will be grounded and gritty.
Sure. So
I don't want
Transformers.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no one
I don't
wants
want
this.
that. We were started
had
this
enough of
episode talking
this.
about Transformers and we're enough of this. Yeah. I want
We've had
this to be
Transformers.
cartoony.
We've had Fast and Furious. We already have this.
We already have this a million times over. Like I remember playing, I have some Hot Wheels. I had like, you know, those pumpkin like containers that you use to like collect trick or treat candies.
Yeah, from McDonald's.
I had like 4 of those full of Hot Wheels, and I think they were just leftovers
Wow.
from other kids. Like I wasn't a huge collector, but I just had them, and I had
a
a,
lot of Hot
a Hot
Wheels.
Wheels video game like on PlayStation at one point. It was so much fun because like I don't really like the realistic like. Oh my gosh, a side note, Gran Turismo is one of those games, and I didn't
Yeah.
like playing it because it was too realistic. And that movie just came out like a few
I
days
know.
ago. I had
can't
no
wait
idea
to
that
see
was
it.
even a movie. Really? That was another
Yeah.
movie. I didn't even
Well,
know.
because I think that's a good adaptation because that movie's about somebody who grew up playing the game who became a professional racer. Like that's actually a really cool story.
Okay,
like
see, that's fun then.
yeah, right? Like that's a real you can connect with that story. A working class
Yeah.
person just playing games who then became a professional race car driver. That's pretty cool.
Right. And see, Gran Turismo is more about racing. And I feel like Hot
Yes.
Wheels is about cool, shiny cars. It's not
Yeah.
really about being
Which
faster. It's about
which we
you
have.
putting one thing on a track and that one thing is spinning around on loops constantly.
Hmm. Well,
So
they
I
did
don't know.
make a Sonic game or Sonic movie, and
Oh,
that did
yeah.
really well, which is about him
Huh.
spinning on loops like that. So
Interesting. Hmm.
potentially it could work.
Okay.
I don't
There's
know. I don't know.
potential.
We'll see what that's like. But what does that feel like? Hot Wheels. That's a Leo. Hot Wheels feels like
Hot
it's
Wheels
just
is a
like
Leo. It's
it's
a fire
definitely
sign
a
for
fire
sure.
sign. Is
Yeah.
it Aries? Because they do crash. They
You know what? Yeah, oh, I like that too. They purposefully they set up Hot Wheels to
yeah.
crash sometimes. But I
Yeah.
like that it could be a Leo too because it's always winning. It's not a racetrack against other cars.
Mm.
It's like you're always number one, always.
It's just
But I guess
you. So
maybe
you
maybe
you've
Hot
rigged
Wheels
the
is
game in your favor.
maybe Hot Wheels is Aries versus Leo at the same time and they have to
Oh yeah.
compete for it.
I like that. That's perfect.
Yeah. It's not one sign. It has to be multiple competing.
Okay, and then we'll end on Beanie Babies. So you saw the movie, which has come out, the Beanie
Yeah.
Bubble.
The
I
Beanie
watched a
Bubble on
documentary
Apple
on it.
TV Plus.
It was
You watched the
it was an
documentary?
yeah, it was an episode of it's the Dark Side of the '90s is what the series is
That's what it was
called.
called? Oh,
That's what
that's
the
fun.
series is called, and there's an episode on Beanie Babies.
Huh.
So it helped
Yeah.
me because I was a kid. So the height of Beanie Babies for me, I was like 9, I want to say, and so this is like 1998, and that's like Beanie Baby Christmas for me. That was my like if 8 the year before was the Barbie Christmas, the following year was the Beanie Baby Christmas for me, where my mom went fucking batshit crazy. It was also very affordable. Beanie Babies were $5 each one. There were, you know, you
I
could
don't
walk
remember
into
how
a
much
Hallmark,
Yeah.
grab a Beanie Baby, and it was not an expensive toy to make.
Right.
But it was
Did
nice
you
to
have
watch
a
that doc.
favorite?
Yes. So my first Beanie Baby, see, I remember my first Beanie Baby was a gray koala, which I really was into koala bears for a while as a kid. It's because we had gone to the San Diego Zoo and I just like lost my mind for a little bit there. And his name was Mel, named after Mel Gibson. And he had the same birthday as me, September 5th. And so I just
Oh.
was like, yeah, I really liked that. I always wanted there was a Dalmatian that I never got, but I always wanted. And then there was obviously I had the Princess Diana bear, and then there was like a Millennium Bear that they talk about
Obviously.
too. That I had that too, and those two were my only two
vaguely
Beanie Babies that
remember this.
went. They had like little cases.
Oh, you had one of those? Yeah.
Yeah, I had multiple little
Or
cases.
multiple.
I had multiple cases. Yeah.
So
and
what
then
about
they
the
all
movie
had
though?
protectors on their tags. You know,
You were that girl.
I was.
I love
No,
it.
I was every
the little
girl,
like
and-
plastic protector on the tie
correct. Yeah.
situation. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it was very real for me. So yeah, okay, so tell me about the movie because I do want to watch it.
Right, it's good. I think the movie's good. It stars Zach Galifianakis, Elizabeth Banks, Sarah Snook from Succession,
Yeah.
and Geraldine Viswanathan. I've
Yeah,
not
she
seen
plays
her.
the girl who built his website, right? She's like the digital.
Yes,
Yeah, because
right.
that's a huge part of the documentary part. Did you
Huge,
know
right.
when eBay
I
launched?
know.
Did you
No,
learn that
what?
in the movie? Oh, when
What about
eBay
eBay
launched,
launching?
that like an absurd amount of it was like 40% of all the business on eBay was people trading Beanie Babies. Like eBay exists
Oh.
because of Beanie Babies.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea. No.
Yeah, this like
But-
secondhand market on the internet was developed because of Beanie Babies.
That makes sense. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Well, what was her name in the movie? Maya, Geraldine
Mm-hmm.
Viswanathan. Her character, I remember as I was watching the movie, I was like, oh, I remember her. I must have seen her on like a documentary about Beanie Babies or something because I know that she like begins to run multiple other marketing endeavors and like huge companies. And I think at the end she's like running eBay or I forget what company, but yeah, she's like a huge marketing expert. She was the reason that companies have websites now.
Yes.
She was
Yeah, she
like,
is.
what if we just had a website that was about Beanie Babies? People can
And
go
her
online.
brother
And
built
she like,
it.
right. And she like
Did they
crashed
show
the
that in the
internet.
movie?
No, but I think
Oh,
that
yeah,
they
in the
talked about it.
documentary-
She actually just said she was going to build it something.
No, she like was the marketing behind it, but she convinced Ty. So we give her credit. She was literally a CMO, very young. You know what I mean? Like created the idea, but had her brother, who was like a college student in Boston. I think they're in Chicago. He comes in and like codes it for her.
Yeah, they touched on that. Yeah, because he was there. I guess now I'm remembering that because they kind of brushed past it.
Yeah,
but
just,
they brought in her like immigrant parents and how they were like really wanted her to be a doctor and like all this stuff where I was like, I totally relate. That makes a lot of sense. No wonder she's like so successful at a young age. But yeah, it was a good movie because it unpacked what happened with Ty, how he was a complete sociopath, crazy man who like did not allow anyone to get anything they deserved. But at the end of the movie, which I'm not sure if this is how history actually played out, it made me feel like everyone got what they deserved in the end. So I hope that's what happened in history.
Did they show, so who are Sarah Snook and Elizabeth Banks? Who do they play?
They're both two different women who partnered with Ty and possibly dated him. It wasn't very clear. Like Sarah Snook definitely dated him.
Is one of them named Mary Ellen or something? Like
I think that might be one of. So Ty started the business with Elizabeth Banks's character, and she ended up getting cheated out by him. And then later, with Sarah Snook's character, he starts dating her, and she has 2 daughters. And those 2 daughters like drew characters that he would design and wrote poems that would be listed in like the little tags, and like they were part creators of a lot of the Beanie Babies.
A lot of it, and he just stole all of it. Interesting.
Yeah. No, he just stole all of it.
I brought up because in the documentary, so I mean, Beanie Babies was this whole subculture, right? Like they had the McDonald's toys, and then there was magazines and books, and like there was all these like it's like what we see on
people
Etsy,
became
right?
like millionaires off of this shit.
No, he became
they would
a billionaire.
Make so much more than the owners of the company would make.
Yeah, well, he became a billionaire, and because he like
because he learned.
He inflated he made people think that this was like something to invest in when they're not, and never like controlled the whole supply. Much like De Beers and diamonds. Look into that. He controlled. But
this happened because he was watching other people make more money off of Beanie Babies. Like they would start selling them between each other and investing within each other. And he would go, oh my gosh, everyone's making more money off of me. But then Maya, Geraldine's character, she would be like, no, this is our life source. Like people trading is good. We don't want to keep making more because that'll make the value go down. And she was just saying all this really obvious stuff, and he was just like an idiot the whole time. So
that's really interesting.
I recommend the movie.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to watch it.
And I should watch yours too, the documentary.
The documentary like showed the dark side, right? So like I guess somebody was like murdered over a shipment of Beanie Babies. Like there was an actual murder like that occurred. And then the big thing is that he said all of the Beanie Babies were going to be retired to again like kind of keep the whole thing going. And then that's like everybody started investing, and the secondhand trading got even crazier. And then he after the millennium decided, no, just kidding, we're going to bring them back. So then that's when everybody started to clue in and be like, oh, this is nothing. We just built. Yeah.
This is all just bullshit. The 90s is a lie.
I forget who did I talk to this week, but they made one of I work with some producers, and his name's Jordan. He said that when he saw NFTs happening, he was like, oh, these are just digital Beanie Babies. And I was like, perfect. That actually is a perfect analogy for Beanie Babies.
That's where it is. You like that's why I didn't get into it, because I knew that once you're not already there, you're not able to catch up. And then you're
it's
just
only
gonna
the
be one of
first
the
couple people who are
lose.
going to make money, because it's a pyramid
Right.
scheme. That's
right.
what that is.
It's all a big lie.
Not that I get offended, but I just like, I keep seeing things that are like, this is a pyramid scheme and this is a pyramid scheme. And I'm like, capitalism is a pyramid scheme. Like it all is.
Everywhere.
So it just like, that's what this system is until we kind of move into a collaborative communal system. It's all a pyramid scheme. So you're not smart. You're just being Aquarian about shit and being like, it's all stupid. Okay, well, fix it, bitch.
Just make art and do what you love and stop consuming that bullshit.
Yeah.